Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and today's video is the ultimate video, the yearly tradition, the staple on the channel. It's time for our league prediction videos, and these right here are always very fun to do because on one hand, there might be loads of people coming back to this in a year's time to actually click on it and laugh at it and mock it if I've got it wrong, or on the other hand, if I get anything right, no one comes back to the video because no one cares about being right. It's about negativity, ladies and gentlemen, and it's that fine line between meme and being right that makes these types of videos very fun and interesting to actually do. Now, I would like to point out, by the way, we are currently recording today's video on the 26th of July, which means everything I've talked about and what I'm basing these teams on are based on right now. So if I go ahead and say something and your team goes ahead and signs a couple of players or signs this player and that changes it, I'm sorry I've not been able to predict and base my opinion on the future. Do apologise about not being a wizard. I know I'm grey, but I'm not quite there in terms of wizardry. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it. And I think we'll start with obviously the bottom and work our way all the way to the tippity top. Starting off with the 12th spot, I have none other than St Johnstone Football Club. That means for the second time, in the last 3 seasons, I've picked St Johnstone to be last. And if you go ahead and look at my ratio, even longer than that to any St Johnstone fan currently watching, now that I've picked you to be last, that means you're going to have a fantastic year, because every time I pick you to come last, you do tremendous, and every time I pick you to do tremendous, you end up struggling. So aye, congratulations on the top 6 finish, St Johnstone. But right now I'm currently thinking you're going to be near the bottom, and the reason that I actually think that is not only based on what happened last season and the slowish start so far in the cup competitions, all that malarkey. I just look at the team now and I look at the transfer action and everything. Like, you lost Jamie at the back, Jamie McCart, and then you've also lost Sean Rooney, who is a massive diddy, but it was such an important piece to their puzzle, and I thought Jamie was as well at the centre back spot. And now you go ahead and look at who they've brought in. Jamie Murphy, you know, I've got a good affiliation with Mr. Murphy and I always want him to do very, very well, but he's lost the spark and the speed that really made him such a dangerous player, and he's at that age now where can he carry a team on his back? It's going to be interesting. I hope so for Jamie's sake, but I'm not really fancying it. And I've also brought Andy Considine from Aberdeen, who's coming back from such a serious injury and that as well. So I just look at the transfer business, I look at the squad, I just didn't see them being able to survive like they did last season, because they won't have a Dundee there that's able to be so bad that it keeps St Johnstone in the division. So I think St Johnston's time is actually up, and that's even with the signing of Ryan McGowan as well, who I think will actually be decent for them. But that's all I've got to say about the 12 spots. St Johnstone, you're there. Now, let's get to 11. Now, at my second favourite character from Stranger Things spot of 11, I have none other than Ross County. And the reason that I have Ross County is very short and very sweet. Nay Reagan, Charles Cook, he is gone. People, the top goal scorer for them, who had so many great moments, so many good goals, unfortunately a couple versus us and that as well, but it got them so many points. And I think if you look at Ross County last year, where they were before he started to score, I think that's where they're going to revert to this season, because he won them so many points on the road, so many points at home, picking up 3 at home, 1 away for him, blah blah blah. That got them to where they had a fantastic year last year. But that is such a massive player to lose. But I know they have signed a total of 10 players so far in the window, and I think that will be enough to keep them from that 12th spot. But aye, 12 and 11 I think it's going to be very, very close this season. Now, moving on to what Celtic failed to get, 10 people, I have actually St Mirren sitting in this spot, and the reason I've got St Mirren sitting in this spot, again, I think it's going to be very close between the two sides previously mentioned, but I do think now that they've got rid of Alan Power, which for me was never going to work in a St Mirren side, because you see St Mirren actually play football, people. They get the ball, they zip it around, and well, at least that's what they've done under Jim Goodwin anyway, when they were at their best. And I think he was just a liability for them all the time. It just didn't work, it didn't mesh, and when you've got that much of an issue in the middle of the park, I think it throws off the entire balance. So they've got rid of him. They've brought in Declan Gallagher, who, if he can get back to his pre-Aberdeen form, will be a fantastic sign-in for them and shore up that back line. And I just think St Mirren are sort of reverting back to what got them to the dance and what got them playing some nice stuff. Again, it's not been the greatest start of the season and that for them, but I'm playing the long game here. I'm trying to project going forward. I like the winger that they got from Middlesbrough. I think he's going to score and at least add a bit of something. They might even win a couple penalties when VAR comes in, because he's tricky. He likes to get amongst it. So I think St Mirren's going to be alright, and that's what I think their season's going to be. Just alright. Now moving on to what Brian Laudrup won with a header. We are on 9 now, people, and in the 9th spot I have none other than Motherwell Football Club, who are 1, and again this could be the start of where I could get badly wrong. Like, I'm pretty confident, or at least confident-ish, on the 3 that we've previously mentioned, but Motherwell could end up having a fantastic year or anything like that. It's just the way it seems to go. They're so hard to actually predict, because you look at them on paper, you look at their wins, you look at how they play and everything like that, and last season I think they only had 1 win in the last 3 or 4 months of the season, yet still finished in the top 6 and everything like that. It's honestly baffling, people, but I think it's one of those scenarios where they fell in to the top 6 through the trap door because the rest of the teams in the division couldn't kick their own jacksie. Do you know what I mean by that? I didn't think they really pushed forward and got it. They just got there being alright. Now, they obviously got there with not only the rest of the team being absolutely mince pie and everything like that, but they got there with a late header for Lamy as well. And shout out to the Lamy family, because I know his brothers watches the video, so shout out to you. Apologies, I put your brother's team in 9th, of course, but I have the same problem I have with Motherwell's I've had over the last couple seasons, and that is none other than fricking goals. I just didn't see it in the Motherwell team, and that's why I think they're going to be fine. Like, they're going to be in the 9th spot, and I think they're not going to get pulled into a relegation battle. I don't think it's going to be that type of year. I think they're going to pull away from the bottom 3, but not do enough to push forward to the top 6. That's just my opinion, and again, it comes down to goals. Goals wins you games, and I look at the Motherwell side, and I just didn't see enough of it. And when I look at the recruitment so far, again on the 26th of July, McGinn, Morris and Spfl, that doesn't do anything to change my opinion on adding goals to this team. Moving on to the best midfielder in the country's number, which is of course Ryan Jack, and the number 8th. And at the 8th spot I have the OG of the Plastic Park FC. You know what I mean? They're ugly, they're mean, they're horrendous to watch, but by God, do they have delicious pies. It is none other than Kilmarnock Football Club, and I know there's a lot of people or a lot of whisperings that they're going to really struggle this year and everything like that, but when you've got McInnes at the helm that can just bury themselves in there and just sit there and play horrible football, really negative, part the bus style, grind out, and then you've got the additions there, Liam Donnelly from Motherwell, who again, hammer thrower, hard tackler, get stuck in there, and the returning power who we mentioned previously that didn't work in St Mirren because they play some football. Well, he's gone back to a team that won't be interested in playing football, and the Plastic Park sprinkles in there and obviously has an impact, whether it's mentally or physically, whatever. There is something there about the mystique of Plastic Football, and I just see Kilmarnock coming back up into this division and having a very good season in terms of coming up for the first year and getting in that 8th spot. That's just my opinion on it. Again, could be badly wrong, they could struggle or anything like that. I just think McInnes, tried and tested at this level, they made a couple of smart moves and they know exactly who they are. They're not going to try and impress anybody. They didn't need to push for a top 4. They didn't need to play nice football. They'll really embrace who they are, and that is the ugly boys of Scottish football, and I see them hurting a lot of teams. Draws against the big boys, points off all there, and again their home form should do enough to get in the 8th spot. And I don't know if this is playing into one of the reasons I think they're going to have a good year, but young Lewis Mayo is of course on loan from Rangers to Kilmarnock, and it'll be interesting to see how he fits with that that crowd, you know what I mean? And it might be what he needs, because I think he does need a bit of just a bite to him, you know what I mean? An evil streak, a willing to put the fit in where it hurts, they're willing to absolutely nail someone. I think he needs that edge, and he's going to get plenty of practice at Kilmarnock this season. It's a very, very clever loan for a young centre-half to go and learn to tough up really quick, because that's the kind of dressing room that he's joining. So look out for Mayo. It could make or break his career this season, and I hope, again, he makes it. And Kilmarnock at 8th. Now we move on to CR7, and it's the other Plastic Park. It's the flip of the coin, and it's the ever consistent, the ever frustrating, the team that has the stadium name that no one ever likes to hear. You hear these 2 words and you know you're in for a tough game. Tony macaroni, people. I'm going to put Livingston at that 7th spot, and I think they're just, whoa, pip the Plastic Park partners in this one. And the reason that I do that is because it's Livingston Football Club. And one of the few things I've got right over the last couple of years with these league prediction videos is I've never, ever underestimated Livingston. I know everybody does and always pick them a struggle, but if there's one thing we have learned, it doesn't matter who they lose. I know they've lost big pieces of their puzzle, the Alan Forrest and everything like that. The other boys that they've lost in there as well, who was such an important piece to their identity, but it never ever matters because the best thing Livingston does is replace and bring people in. I mean, they've lost for the likes of Liam Kelly to Lyndon Dykes, and every single time they've done it, people's went, oh, they're going to struggle now, but they just seem to bring all these unnamed, and again, I'm not being disrespectful, but players you didn't really hear none about and have not got a clue about, they bring them in and it works. They're almost the Moneyball team of the SPFL, where they go out and get players that can do a job. Not great at this, not great at that, not great at that, but they can do this job. And Martindale seems to find a way to put them in that team to do that job, and you'll get another player to do that job, and it all comes together as a collective, and they are one of the best teams in the division because, again, they've got that spirit and they just do their own thing. There's no egos or that. Egos, maybe, depending if it's a Lord of the Ring Deus Ex Machina of a cheap ending. But, I just think they're a good team, ladies and gentlemen. And, I know they've signed a lot of random people and people's laughing at their recruitment, but, I'm not going to laugh at them because I'm pretty damn sure they'll be successful, and that's why I have them at 7th. Now, again, like these prediction videos, they kind of come in threes where I think 12, 11 and 9 could be very close and everything like that. I also think 9, 8 and 7th could be very close in terms of the positions, and that moves on as we now reach the top 6, who will be more than fine for the season. But again, I think it's going to be one of those interesting battles and it might just come down to a point here or frickin' there. But I'm going to go with Dundee United, even though everything is telling me not to do this right now and I feel like I should push them higher. There's just something about it, right? Because I look at their transfer business and they've kept the majority of their good players. They went and got Levitt again from Manchester United, which is a fantastic signing for them and everything like that, right? They've kept most of their star players, and again, that should sort of reflect that they'll have a very good season, and I think a top 6 finish is still a good season in my opinion. But they did lose one star in their team, and that is their goalkeeper. And again, I watch every single second of Rangers games and everything, and I've seen this guy make save after save after save after save. And when I've done the SPFL show and when I've done preview videos, I've looked into him, and there has been so many times, countless times, that he's turned a point into 3 points or 0 points into 1 point, people, and that's important as the season goes on. And I know they've signed 2 goalkeepers in the transfer window, and I'll be interested to see if they'll be able to replace the quality, but I just think that was a perfect fit right there, and he won them at least 10 points. I don't know if many Dundee United fans will agree with me in that statement, but I'm not sure too many of them will actually be clicking on today's videos anyway. But for me, he was fantastic for them and got them a lot of points, and I think that might be their Achilles heel this season to stop them from getting even higher, is that goalkeeping spot. But again, the new lads that could come in could take off and it could be fantastic for them. But where I sit right now, I look at the transfer business, I think they've done okay and everything like that in the market. But again, their Achilles heels is that goalkeeping spot, so it'll be interesting to see how it finishes. On to a band that was very big in the early 2000s and fell away almost as quickly. It is on to 5 now, people, and I'm starting to smile, I'm starting to laugh to myself because I don't know why I've done this. Like, I've absolute no reason but in here why I picked this team to finish 5th, picking them over the likes of Dundee United, but I've done it, people, alright? I am going to go with Hibernian Football Club. I don't know why. I mean, this team has been a shambles so far this season. Not only have they lost a couple games to League One, etc., opposition so far, but they've also been kicked out a competition because they went and played an ineligible football player in the match that they didn't even want to sign and signed by accident. And in itself, honestly, man, give me an Aidan McGeady crayon to turn in, because it genuinely looks like it's all made up, people. But still, despite everything, I just think they're going to be alright, because the start of the season's been so bad and they're getting criticised so bad so early that I think it's actually going to have the opposite effect that everyone else is predicting. I think it might galvanise the team together under the new manager, and I think it might set them up to have a good season. Again, could be badly wrong because they do look stinking. And again, I look at the transfer business. I mean, they've lost Jamie Murphy, they lost Scott, they pass Allen, they have lost the young left back to the Serie A Deutsch, who looked like a fantastic player for them, and they of course lost big Matt Macy in the nets as well. So I know everything is screaming out warning signs they should drop down. But again, I just think it's going to have the opposite effect, where it'll get going. Maybe after a slow start, because I do think they'll lick their wounds a little bit. But I just think they'll start going eventually. And Tavares, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, looks an exciting player for this league. And it might be what they've been needing in terms of pace and directness. So I don't know why, but I went with them at 5. Now, speaking of early 2000s, I wanted to marry Susan Storm for the next number, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, on to 4. And it may be fantastic for some. And, you know, I've kind of talked about Hibs, and I've said they're my wild card choice and everything like that for finishing in the top 5. But this could easily be even another wild card, because, again, I went ahead and put a team that was bad last year and everything like that. But I do back them to have a comeback season, and I think they are starting to look solid now, as I obviously put Aberdeen in that 4th spot. But where I don't really have too many reasons why I think Hibs will finish 5th, I do have a couple for Aberdeen, because Aberdeen for me was a perfect example of what happens when your team could become stagnant. And I think that's what happened. Even when they added a new manager, Jim Goodwin, who again, despite not liking the guy, I do think he is a good manager. I think he's came in there and he had to get rid some players, you know. I mean, guys had too much influence in the team and everything, and the old ways and all that. He had to move all the guys on, like the Fergusons of the world. They obviously moved on Andy Considine as well, and obviously cut their losses with Declan Gallagher, because for some reason it just didn't work. So he's got big personalities and that dressing room, and he's sort of let everybody know that he, just like Judge Dredd, is of course the law. And I think that there will be the foundation for a successful season for Aberdeen. Again, they've had a decent to good transfer window in my opinion. They've spent some money despite losing a Ramsey, but again, they had to cash in and the hype of them in. But I do think they've actually spent it well, with a big centre forward as well, who might be one of those players that they thought they were going to get in Jet, in terms of somebody that's big and can put the ball in the back of the net. I think Richardson's a very, very clever signing as well from Nottingham Forest, getting almost a like for like in terms of pace and that in the full-back range. I even think Liam Scales is a good signing for them on loan from Celtic. So they've ticked a couple boxes of what I think they needed in their team. And again, they cut the losses of the likes of Ferguson, the Gallaghers, the Considines and the Devlin. So everyone knows in that dressing room that it is Goodwin's team, and we'll see if that translates to success on the part. But I do think they're going to have a good year, and that's why I have them at 4. Now moving on to the number that I can't say it and annoys 99% of the people that watches today's video. 3 people. I know, I say it with an F, don't I? It annoys everyone. But we move on, and we're going to put Hearts in this spot. Obviously we're going to put Hearts, and I think Hearts are in a different situation, where again I think 6th, 5th and 4th could swap round, because it kind of comes in threes. I do think Hearts are going to have a similar season in terms of success to last season, where they're going to be far ahead of the rest of Scottish football. But again, they can't break through that glass ceiling, which is of course Rangers and Celtic. But I'm pretty sure if you asked any Hearts fan going into this season, would you take another clear 3rd place position, I think every single one of them would say, of course, merci. And again, one of the reasons that I do think Hearts are going to have a good season is they have someone already that can put the ball into the back of net, and by the name of Liam Boyce. They kept the majority of their stars. Again, the only one they really lost was to us, Big John Souttar, but they kept the rest, and they've added very cleverly in the transfer market as well. I think Alan Forrest is a good signing from Livingston. Work all day, hard working, exact type of player you need in your team when you're playing every 3 days and you're swapping all this and everything. You need a guy that can run all day. And I think they've done a fantastic bit of business bringing in yet another goal scorer by the name of Lawrence Shanklin, who again I rate very highly in terms of Scottish football, and I think he will score some goals. And you look at that, Shanklin and Liam Boyce, to me screams goals, and that's what wins you games, and that's what gets you 3 points, and that's what gets you up the division. So I think Hearts are going to have a fantastic year and be a scary team to play in terms of what they can do actually going forward. Now, is it all going to click and is it all going to work? It remains to be seen. But I do think they're going to be comfortably in third with looking up rather than looking at the teams behind them. Now I get to my top two, ladies and gentlemen, and I wonder which way I'm going to go. Well, make no mistake about it, people, I am nothing if not consistent with my top two, because I have been picking Rangers to finish first since we heard, guys, I wouldn't trust to pack my messages at Tesco in the back line. That's right, people. In the second spot is, of course, none other than Celtic Football Club, which means Celtic second, Rangers first. Thank you. You may click off the video now if you wish. But the reason I'm going to pick it, besides my bias, which of course is always going to be there, but I'll try and push my bias to one side. I do think it's going to be a fantastic season in terms of swapping places, keeping it close, etc, etc. Some might pull away here, some might pull away here. I think it's going to be very close, and it may end up one of these seasons, people, where it finishes with both teams finishing on a ridiculously high amount of points. But I do think Celtic will come in second, and again, there's no much criticism here or anything like that. I can't really do anything. I think their manager's very, very good. And it's funny, you know, you go back to a year ago when I recorded this video, for instance, right, which was memed all over the place. But it's funny because if you go back to when I recorded that video, they hadn't signed pretty much anyone. I think they only signed Spfl, and that was it in terms of their signings. I mean, they still had a manager at that point they didn't want, and they were fuming about, and they had a guy in between the sticks that cost £5 million who had poppadoms for hands and couldn't catch a cold. That's right there is what I was laughing and mocking at, that version. And then almost a day later, after uploading my video, they went ahead and signed about 18 people and added some real talent to their team. So didn't appreciate that, Celtic Football Club. But again, I think they've been smart with the transfer business. They've brought in, they've kept Vickers, and they've kept Jota spending a lot of money investing heavily. They brought in a couple of players in that as well. I think the big Germans came in now as well by the time I'm recording today's video. They've got, is it Moy? Is that how you pronounce it? I do apologise if it isn't. But the guy obviously played at Huddersfield, which may be an alright signing for them and that. I don't know about their midfield, and I can't be too critical of them. You know what you get with them. They're all tacked. There's almost a lack of respect from Ange Postecoglou in terms of how Celtic play against the rest of Scottish football, which is one of the reasons I think they're so successful, because they just go forward. There's very little faffing about. They go forward, they chase, and that's how they end up scoring so many late goals, because they never stop, again, pushing forward, trying to put the ball into the back of net. I'm sure they're going to have another successful season at doing that, scoring goals, etc, etc. But aye, I think they're going to finish second. I hope they finish second, and I think they genuinely will this time, as the twisting and turning year upon year. I think we're now at a level where Rangers and Celtic are that together now, that it will eke and change, and again it could come down to a couple points here or there. But aye, Celtic second and Rangers on the first. And it's not just blind bias again why I'm picking Rangers to finish first, ladies and gentlemen. I do absolutely love, and I mean love, the transfer business. I can't explain to you. If you're watching for another team right through the entire league, if you've not been watching the videos, this is exactly everything we've been needing. Pace, an attacking threat, no people that can't run anymore, that needs to turn around or hits everyone straight down the middle or 50 yards at the bar. We've actually got attacking talent now in the team, and you can see already in pre-season what the new signings have done. We're no longer stagnant with, you know, how Rangers are going to play. You've got a Lawrence who's a bit of a maverick, I think, there, and he's going to be a good player. You've got Rabi with the pace and just all go all the time. You've got Cholak now when we need something different, the physicality. We've kept Alfredo Morelos, we've kept a Ryan Kent, and again he's going to be freed up this season now that we've got other players that can actually go forward in the team. People might point to losing a Aribo and losing a Calvin Bassey, but again for me, and I'm not being bitter, I think Aribo was one we could have afforded to lose. Bassey is a loss, let's be honest about that. Of course he's going to be a loss, but he's gave us a lot of money to replace and bring in other quality, and I feel much better about that situation where I sit right now, considering Yilmaz is in the football club, who again, if he's half as good as he's right up, sorry, I'm getting a dry throat, I'll be talking for a while. If he's half as good as he's right up and he's praising that from Turkey, should be a massive success and add something to this Rangers team as well. He's young, he's attacking, he can get forward, and he's again consistent, both gone back and forward. So I love the transfer business for Rangers. It's everything I've been crying out for. So I can't wait to see how it translate on the park. It's going to be an interesting season. That's how I think. Again, I'm not a wizard, ladies and gentlemen, so if I put your team lower than you think it should be, let me know in the comment section below. But then shout at me, I don't know, man. You know what I mean? Look at me. Come on, people. But that's me all done and dusted. That's the league tradition done. Once again, that is my thoughts and opinions. If you're watching today's video, let me know down in the comment section below your league predictions. It'd be absolutely fantastic to see your opinion. Now, normally we do a reaction video to the league predictions and everything like that, and we try and see if anyone's got to right. But we all know what was going through last year, starting for like October and everything like that. It wasn't the greatest year, so I actually took a summer or a couple of weeks to myself when the season ended, just to reset and actually that's my first time of having a holiday for about 6 years on the channel, so I never really got time to do the end of season content. But fingers crossed everything's good this year and we'll go ahead and have a successful year up here, ladies and gentlemen. And if you get it right, I'll call it out and tell yous next year. So let me know your thoughts and opinions, and until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been CJ over 92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.